We have breaking news out of the White House. Brian?
There is a report that President Biden is going to swap Brittney Griner for arms dealer Victor Bout.
Lucas Tomlinson is live at the White House. What do we know this morning?
Well, good morning, guys. Fox News can confirm that 32-year-old WNBA star Brittney Griner has been freed in a prisoner swap for Victor Bout, a convicted Russian arms dealer convicted back in 2011 for trying to kill U.S. service members in Colombia after he sold 800 surface-to-air missiles to a terrorist group in Colombia with the goal of shooting down an American helicopter. That prisoner swap, we're not sure where that has happened, likely in Switzerland, a neutral country, but Fox News can confirm that Brittney Griner, who recall had been detained just days before Russia's invasion of Ukraine on drug charges. She had possessed some cannabis oil she claims was for pain. The Russians didn't see it that way. She had detained and had just been sent to a penal colony last month. She was convicted to serve 9 years of hard labor at that penal colony. But efforts have been underway for the last few days. Of course, today is the 35th anniversary of the INF Treaty here at the White House when Mikhail Gorbachev and Ronald Reagan signed that historic achievement to ban intermediate range missiles. Of course, Reagan had deployed the Pershing IIs to Europe, but I don't want to get too much into the weeds on that. But certainly today's historic significance because of that. Also, the 31st anniversary of the Soviet Union essentially dissolving in a hunting lodge outside Minsk. The leaders of Ukraine, Russia, and Belarus. Also, you have Christmas coming up. Many people say this was a good faith gesture from both the Russians and the United States. But who we're not hearing about is the former Marine Paul Whelan. Right now, we cannot confirm he's involved in this prisoner swap. So people are going to be talking about that right now, guys.
You're absolutely right. And Lucas, we're receiving word that apparently the President of the United States, we believe, is going to be addressing the nation at 8:30 this morning. Probably in the East Room or more probably the Roosevelt Room.
Correct. We're hearing the Roosevelt Room right now, and President Biden will be addressing the country soon. We're just working on everything being set up right now.
And you said it's already happened. She is free now, right? She's coming back home?
Correct. She is in the air and coming back home.
That's great.
Okay. Lucas, thank you very much. Stand by for this. You know, what's interesting is they've only given us one name. Brittney Griner and the so-called merchant of death, the arms dealer that they're going to do a one-for-one swap on. It was our U.S. Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, who was on Face the Nation over the weekend. And he was talking about there were ongoing conversations with the Russians about a prisoner swap. And in particular, Brittney Griner and the former Marine Paul Whelan's name did come up. Griner was convicted of smuggling narcotics, and Whelan has been in Russia since 2018, held on a fictitious espionage charge, something like 40 months or like that. But the Russians, what the Secretary of State revealed was the Russians were interested in a one-for-one swap. So if we only have one, we only know of one Russian we're giving up, that's the merchant of death. We only have Brittney Griner's name. We would have to get another name to hear more about Paul Whelan. So let's hope that is the case.
Merchant of death sounds terrible. What is this guy accused of?
He's an arms dealer.
Yeah, they say he's the Bill Gates of arms dealers. It was a major sting operation that took him down in 2008. The Russians have been trying to get him back.
Been held since 2012?
Yeah, it's been held in the United States in Marion prison facility. He was a former Soviet translator, used multiple air transport companies to smuggle weapons since the collapse of the Soviet Union. They do believe he has American blood on his hands. This was a top arrest. I imagine people sacrificed a lot to get him out. It's good that Brittney Griner is coming back. She was forced to play over in Russia for different athletic opportunities, like a lot of women soccer players do. They go over there and play for Russia and make a ton of money. But this is the downside. It's a society run by a terrible government that at any moment can make you a prisoner.
Did we ever hear how they treated her in prison?
No, I don't think so. She had made a number of statements through her attorney. But what is interesting as well, if you're just joining us, Brittney Griner has been released by the Russians.
She's coming home for Christmas.
She is. And it's a one-for-one prisoner swap. The president's going to talk in 18 minutes from the Roosevelt Room. But what's interesting about the fact that this was made is, keep in mind, there was so much political pressure on Joe Biden to do something to get her out. And, you know, we've seen every one of the press conferences he has had, or press availabilities for the most part, where people were able to ask any questions they want. Her name always came up, and they said, we're working on it. Well, it looks like something finally has paid off, and we'll know more from the president in 18 minutes.
Okay.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.